This is Mark Dell with Android Spin, and this review is for Modern Combat 2 Black Pegasus by Gameloft. It's hard to set your expectations for a first-person shooter on a platform that is almost completely without them. While the genre might be one of the most popular ones around on the home consoles, the style of gameplay becomes rather stifled when brought to the touchscreen-only devices. Despite this, Gameloft is attempting to ride the popular name of modern warfare, a pretty bold move. The tone is set quickly in Modern Combat 2 Black Pegasus with a flashy pre-rendered introduction, but even when you're introduced to the in-engine cutscenes upon starting a new game, you see that some special attention was given here to presentation. Throughout the game you'll experience cutscenes and scripted events to drive the story forward and break up the action. The story itself is serviceable, with dialogue that is generally well performed. You'll also be told to "stay frosty" numerous times, as if the phrase is part of some checklist that games of this type need to include, much like an ice level. As the story unfolds, you'll travel to vastly different areas, many of which look terrific and show off some of the best visuals I've seen on Android, which helps mix up the combat that can otherwise feel a little drab. Getting to grips with the controls can feel a little clumsy at first. Getting used to the sensitivity as well as the actions of the move, crouch, turn, zoom, fire does take a little getting used to, but after a few levels you'll be taking down foes like a pro, although the enemies don't make themselves particularly difficult targets. For the most part, enemies will advance over the open terrain until they're in range and then just start firing, with no real thought to self-preservation. In closer quarters they'll make some attempt to take cover, or throw grenades and roll around on the floor, but they don't put up much of a fight until you're faced with larger numbers. The difficulty in Black Pegasus often comes from when you don't have the opportunity to advance slowly and use cover, while being bombarded with several large waves of targets, and several levels can be extremely easy up until one difficult point that may or may not be well checkpointed. The lack of intelligence with the AI can make the combat rather repetitive on some levels, although this is partially offset by the weapon variety and the different locales. Along with a rather lengthy and enjoyable single-player story, Black Pegasus also supports online multiplayer, with a variety of different game modes and a persistent leveling system. Even over a regular 3G connection, I never experienced any major problems with lag in online games, and it is amazing to find that the technical aspects of playing online actually worked a lot better than some of the high-profile console games. The biggest issue with the multiplayer is on a more basic level. When playing the single-player story, despite the very functional control method, it doesn't control as well as a console or PC game, and the game deals with this with allowing you with more time to react, and generally being more lenient. However, when playing against other players, these same rules don't apply. Many gunfights are won and lost by who gets the drop on whom, and by the time you've been hit, it's generally too late to get to safety. There's also an issue with smaller maps becoming overcrowded, and this problem is compacted when playing deathmatch mode, and you can simply stand behind a spawn point and just fire away as players respawn. These issues aside, playing matches online can be a great and surreal experience. Jumping quickly into an online first-person shooter from anywhere for a quick match is a great time passer, and it'll make you wish that more games featured an online rather than local multiplayer. Modern Combat 2 Black Pegasus isn't without its faults, and it's rather unfortunate that the largest ones revolve around the largest part of the game, but Black Pegasus sets a rather high bar for the mobile first-person shooters, and is absolutely worth looking into if you've enjoyed games of this type on home systems.